Hey, this is Andrew Brown, and in this video, what I want to do is take a look at JP. So JP is similar to JQ. It's supposed to be easier to use, and it uses the JSEM path language. Now, the example I showed was installing it via the npm install. Originally, I remember this being a JavaScript library, but it looks like now it's written in Go. So unless I'm mistaken, I thought it was a JavaScript library, but I guess it could be Go as well. It has brew instructions here. So I think that we could go ahead and utilize that there. So I'm going to go and try to do that. Maybe the reason they made it JSON was so that it would be more portable to other systems, as JavaScript will require you to install npm or Node Package Manager. So we'll go ahead and install that here. I'm going to type in JP, see if it works. Right away, we get a permission denied. It is stored here, so it knows where it is. So I'm going to do an ls-la in this bin directory. And we'll take a look and see what kind of permissions we have. So here is JP, and it shows that it has this forget pod. So I'm not 100% sure why I can't execute it. So just give me a moment to figure that out, okay? So I'm not exactly sure on how to fix that, but what we can do is maybe just install the other one. So what I'm going to do is just stop my environment, and I'm going to reopen it up. And this time I'm going to go install the one via Node, as I know that one will install. Again, the only disadvantage is that you'd have to have Node for it, and this one obviously is a little bit more flexible. There's nothing talking about sudo here. I suppose that we could also install it via a different means. So we could try this as well. So let's try this before we completely give up here and go switch over to Node. Make a new folder here called JP, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this line here. Say allow and hit enter. And so now let's type in JP. And so now this is less of an issue. So definitely installing this via the binary directly is going to give us less issues. But this is obviously if you're using Linux. That was for Linux 64. So now what we can do is go ahead and try to use this. So, here is the syntax language, and you're going to notice that it's not the same. It's not the same as JQ. So what we can do is bring up our JQ example and see if we can do things that are similar. All right, and the first thing I want to do is try to pipe something over to JP. So we'll say JP, and we'll see what we get. Well, first that's our data, good. And we'll copy this and hit enter. And it's saying provide at least one argument. Okay. So, I want to provide it a file. We'll go to tutorials here. And again, just trying to look how to pipe to it. So maybe we could, I don't know, it should just work. Okay, what if I do period here? No, so just give me a second, okay? All right, so going down here, you'll notice that for the usage, like they have echo and you can pipe to it. So that's interesting. Maybe it's that we just need to provide some kind of key in here. So maybe this is fine. We just have to say something like VPCs. There we go. And so now we're getting data back. So we're going to go ahead and grab this. Okay, so this will result in an error. We need to select something. Notice that we don't need to put a period in the front there. I wonder if we could put a period to reference the root. Let's go ahead and do that. And it doesn't like that, okay? So again, different language, not going to follow the same rules, but it's not like super hard to utilize. And it's also a very limited language, so it's not particularly difficult, but maybe we want to select some information here. So let's go back to the home and take a look at this example. So here it's showing locations and saying, select all the locations that are Washington State, sort at, not sure what at is, and then it's joining them together as the final result here. So maybe we could try a bit of that out. So let's take a look at our data structure and try to figure out what we could do with this. So maybe we want to filter based on whether it's default or not. So I did create a few VPCs in here, and they all should not be default. So we should get 3 back. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and go down here. and we'll look at the syntax. And so we have this. So I'll grab this here, paste it in this side. And so I'm saying is default, and then we're saying false. And because it's a Boolean, I'm going to assume that it takes that. Enter. And it doesn't like that there, so I'm going to go back and take a look here carefully. I mean, looks fine to me. What I'll do is I'll wrap this in quotations. Sometimes this might help. So I'm just going to tell you, I don't like JQ or JP. I always find it a little bit tricky to use, and I don't always get the results that I want. Let's go back here and make sure that this false is a Boolean. It is a Boolean. So, I mean, that should work. Okay, we're not really getting stuff back. We can go back here and take a look here again. I might want to try to select a attribute on it. Maybe it's just returning the data in an odd way. So we can go here and say cider block. So that is no good. Let's try this instead. That is no good. What if we try a wildcard in here? There we go. So I can get a wildcard of stuff, but my filtration didn't work as I was hoping it would. Not to say that it won't work, but it's just, maybe the issue is that it doesn't like the title case here, or maybe it doesn't like the operator. So we'll go back over to here. It looks like we can join it and turn it into something. So let's try that. And so we'll make a pipe here, do curlies, and we'll say blocks. And it looks like it has a built-in function. We didn't use any functions in JQ, but JQ definitely has the same stuff. And we'll go here and do this. Okay, I guess the @ sign probably refers to the current instance. So we could probably put this here and do @ sign. There we go. And so we're getting kind of an array of blocks. So, hopefully that gives you kind of an idea how JQ works. A lot of the times when you're working with JQ is going to be with, JMES path is when you're doing queries. And of course, when we're doing queries, right, we could do the same thing here and see what happens. So let's go take a look and see if we can literally use the same syntax here, but using the query command. So we'll say EC2 describe VPCs. What I'm going to do is just bring this up a lot more because I want to see if I can open up the outputs panel. I believe that's F5. And yeah, we can't do that in Gitpod, which is kind of frustrating. So I'm going to go over here and open this up in Cloud Shell. And let's see if we can get that preview there that we want. I'm going to open this up in another tab so we have a lot more room to work with here. And just hit X here, let that load up. So I'm going to copy this part. And we'll try that out really quickly. Okay, good. And I want this open up in using the auto prompt mode. So I'm going to go over to my Gitpod YAML file and just quickly grab that envar because I don't remember what it is. It's this. And we'll go over to Cloud Shell, paste this in, and we'll just say on. I'm just going to turn it on always so that it's a little bit easier to work with here. Not what I normally do, but we'll go ahead and grab this query and hit enter. And so it actually returned the data, so I don't think this actually worked. I'm going to type in export on this. Type AWS again. There we go. So EC2 describe VPCs. VPC. That's right. Okay. I just keep expecting it to show me more parameters, eh? Try this again here. VPCs. I'm going to hit F5 to open up the outputs. And then we're going to open up query. And the idea is that we want to see if we can use that JSME path language here. So yeah, again, generally don't like writing JSME path, but when it auto-completes here, it's less of an issue. So we'll say we want to select all of them. And I want to say cider block. And then I want to pipe it over here, and we're going to join it. And, oh, I think we need our curlies, right? So we're going to say blocks like this, and then a comma, and then that, and then close it. Let's take a look if we got that syntax right. Yeah, this one's using single quotations. Something I'll definitely need to do is wrap this in doubles because it might be running into problems here. And just notice that it can't figure it out as we would hope it would. Let's go ahead and hit enter and see what happens. But notice that it produces the same thing. So we could do this, right? Or we could do this. So these two commands are identical. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea. If you want to learn more about JP, you absolutely can. A lot of the times you can just tell ChatGPT or a large language model, say, hey, I want to have this. Can you write this query for me? And that's usually good enough, and you don't have to really learn the full details of those query languages, but you just want you to be aware of that functionality there. But we'll see you in the next one, okay? Ciao.